Well, y'all, I'm back for another video, and I apologize for being gone so long. The main reason is my daughter, she's autistic, she has Asperger's, she's been gone through a lot, and we've been getting the help that we need, and mentally and physically I was exhausted and drained, and the ex-wife, fiance's same way. And sometimes you just gotta know when to fold them. But I wasn't gonna quit YouTube all this yet, because I got projects, and I'm gonna continue throwing videos out there occasionally. It may not be every week like I used to be, but we're gonna get back around to that. Starting off is I've kind of I got AC in my office now, my little shop area. And I made it wider. I made it bigger because, I bought a sewing machine. What else you got to do other than sit in the office and try to sew some stuff? And that's what leads to today's video. I'm going to attempt to reupholster my seat in the 68. I am new at this. I've made a couple of sample parts. I actually made the ex-wife a cushion for the kitchen. Turned out pretty decent, and I'll put a picture of it right here, right now. And as you can look at the picture, you can tell, it ain't perfect, but, I tried to do the best to get the seams and lines and patterns and all that stuff. It's the little details that count. I had to start somewhere, and this is what I started with. Well, back to my other sample piece is I tried some diamond patterns. My first one that I ever attempted to do is on this piece right here. Of course, that's my hand, and this is actually 12 by 12, I think it was. And this here's got a little crooked, but it's a start. You gotta start somewhere, right? And that's what I started with. My seat in the 68, I bought cheap black vinyl, and originally I bought black and white houndstooth. Dig it out here, and I was gonna use the vinyl with the black and white houndstooth. But I still got to figure out where to put all this fabric and foam and all that good stuff. Stuff keeps falling out. But after looking at some pictures, I really want a red and black houndstooth. So I ordered the red and black, and that's what this is. Hard to tell on camera, I know, but let me get it down in there, and that's what we got. And honestly, I'm gonna have to do me some research, because I don't know if the pattern needs to go like up and down this way, or if it needs to go this way, or if it even matters. But I would like to know, just so I could, start off on the right habits and trying to create them, what they call muscle memories of the process of doing all this. Because even some of the samples that I do, or the cushion that I made and posted on Facebook, and the sample of this diamond piece, I've had people reach out already wanting me to do some stuff. And if I can be, I guess, anal and good, decent at this, yeah, I'm willing to do it. Got a dip in my mouth. I'm alive, so yeah, I got a dip. So I'm wanting to start off. I wanted to start off simple, but that ain't gonna happen. So I'm diving right deep in, head first, and hopefully I can get something to come out right on this pattern. And I'll show you a picture of what I've got in mind. So here's some pictures, and I hope you can see it through the camera of a camera. But this is kind of the shape that I'm looking for. You know, you got radiuses up here. It's not a separate piece going all the way across, but there are a couple of lines up here. And me being new, I do not know why people do this. I'm sure there's a reason why it makes it easier or rough or harder, whatever, to get it done. But I want my whole back seat here to be one continuous piece. And it might be just because of the material. You save on material doing it that way. Like this is the red and black on black vinyl that's what I like. I don't want it to be up this high, I hope, but more, you know, kind of like the way this one is. This is what I don't care to see. Yeah, I mean, it's a good seat, looks nice, but I mean, it's squared off. You know, I mean, you got the radius up here of the bench, so I would like to have it, you know, kind of mimic that like this other one is. You know, it kind of blends with the radiuses, and it just don't have no squared off corners to it. But that's my goal, is to have something similar to this with none of this going on, and hopefully no wrinkles, of course. And put that in the 68. So I guess first step I gotta do, I got the 68 out because, you know, when I added this width on this shop, or this office, I had to move my tire machine and all that again. I'm gonna have to break down and finally put the ceiling in my shop. I got a stack of OSB in the back corner that I keep moving, that I'm tired of moving. I'm gonna have to get it installed. And unfortunately, here we are in June, headed into July, and it always seems that I do this crap in the hottest part of the year. So the 68's up at the house. I gotta go get it and move it down here back into the shop. And I'm gonna put it over on the bay where the lift is, so we'll have room beside the office here to set up. And I'm planning on tearing the seat apart outside, not, you know, mess up my shop. I mean, I don't want to mess it up this quick, you know. Try to keep it nice. I mean, at least I got me a mini split. And I got it set on 75 right now, and I mean, it's feeling good. Well, it didn't take long, but it's hot out here, and I'm already soaked again. The seat wasn't bolted down in the truck. I didn't remember that. So it made it a lot easier. And something else is I done got the old impact screwdriver out, getting ready. Because on these, a lot of these didn't have, you know, movable back. They're all permanent. So let's go to the other side. There we go. See better. But see, they're all permanent. I done got them ready to whack on it with a hammer, and I got them broke loose and didn't even have to hit it. But when I tear this apart, you know, I can put shoulder bolts. I can change this up, and I can put a stop here, and I'm going to have a retractable back seat because, you know, I don't have a gas tank behind the seat no more. It's got the Blazer one in the bed. So I want to be able to raise that up, you know, to put stuff back there. But this is the original seat. And far as I know, it ain't never been reupholstered. I don't know. I can't tell. I mean, all this stuff looks like original OEM. Good look that I can from what lighting I got right now. Foam is pretty decent shape, seems like. So we won't have too many issues there. And I could probably use these as a pattern for my overall. It don't look like it's stretched much. But, you know, I'm learning, so we might just be learning how to what do they call it? Fabricate, make new, quote, to do. I don't know, I gotta figure it out. And also gotta figure out how it's hog ring and all that good stuff. Looks like the bottom. Well, when I tear it apart, we'll look at it together then. But I am gonna set y'all up and show you kind of like what I'm thinking. So to get an idea, I'm thinking something, this is a grease pencil. I was gonna say pen, but I made it, you know, pencil. I don't know, something like this. And this is gonna go just like the picture. I'm blowing sweat off my lip as I talk. Of course, same way as you come down here. I don't know, I'll probably turn this radius it too with a separate piece. I think that would look the best. Then this is going to be the hound's tooth. Vinyl side piece. Have this probably stitched somewhere in here. Have a separate piece, I don't know, somewhere in here maybe. I don't know, we got some figuring out to do. But I mean, it's something to learn off of. You know, I really ain't never paid no attention how this done what it does. How it kind of, the welt, the piping and stuff comes over, then down, like right in front of where your leg is gonna be. Really don't want that. I don't even know if I'll have piping at all in mine. I don't know yet. Let's take it apart. Well, I figured out some stuff. This is blue. This looks black. So either this used to be blue and it turned black after years, or that's black and it has been reupholstered and they used blue to put their thing in it, their wire or whatever, to have something to hog ring to. And it's got a piece of foam in it on this side. This is blue. The hole here, the way it's been trimmed out. I'm going to go and justify and jump out on a limb that it has been upholstered sometime in its life. Long time ago. The back one is the same way, with that blue cloth right there. And it's hog ringed into this piece right there. So now I got a game plan, and that's gonna be get back in the office and cool down. But I'm gonna cut these hog rings out. Is my first step. Look at the foam, then I'll get some measurements. See what I can't screw up. Got it all tore apart. It's definitely been reupholstered because this is a patch job. Here's the patch job on that foam. And I guess back then, instead of gluing it, you use some sort of masking tape, I guess. I don't know. But that's what was holding that on there. Foam's actually kind of, you know, removable. And I found these tags on the seats too. That's pretty neat. That's got LS1 on it. A bunch of numbers. This one has got 71 on that tag. I don't know if that's the year model or what. See if I can stay. But my phone's is, you know, decent shape. So now where I'm fixing to go back in the office and cool off and procrastinate, my favorite thing to do, I'm gonna get some basic measurements on my back. Probably my cushion first. And try to get a game plan together. Just get some kind of blueprint, you know. Since I'm a machinist by trade, we gotta have a blueprint. Well, I got it brought in here, laid it on this blanket, trying to get some basic measurements. And I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm thinking. So, we know we want to fit tight. That looks like about 58. But if I put it up here where this other seam was, which I don't know about that neither, that's where I'm going to measure it from. We can always stretch. I think. What do we get here? So we measure here. To there. 56. So let's say there to here. I think it was 56. We're gonna make it 56. Not even think about it no more. Being a non-artistic person, I'm sure you'll understand exactly where I'm coming from. $56 by right there in that seam there. 22. Yep, we'll stay at 22. So that gives the overall piece for this seat cushion. Now I gotta figure out what to do next. How I want to draw up the the sections in here. I've been looking at this pattern on this houndstooth, and I've been trying to determine which way I think it looks the best. And I also researched it. Just so happens the way that I'm reading it correctly and researching it is the way it should go. So this is what I have, and I hope it's correct because this is the way I'm doing it. And by the time you get this video, please comment and let me know if it's right or wrong. But this is the way I'm doing it. And me sitting here staring at it any longer is going to make me go more cross-eyed than I already am. But looking at it, like, that's the way it is. It's rolled out, laid out like it's here, facing it. the left top leg kicks over and goes down, and the bottom right leg goes over and goes up. Does that make sense? Top leg, top left, over and down, bottom right, over and up, is from what I'm understanding it. And in my preference, that's what looks the best also. So that's the route I'm going. Alright, so I got my houndstooth here cut, and I'm going to tell you, after staring at this pattern, doing all this laying out and cutting, you remember them pictures that you stare at, the 3D ones, and they like make a whatever? That's what I'm looking like right now as I'm cutting this. The reason these are so long is because one section is going to be the bottom, and the other section is going to be, you know, the cushion. And when I get ready to put my pleats in, top stitch pleat, I guess is what it's called, I'm going to do it on one continuous long deal instead of, that way everything hopefully matches up better. From my research, with a 2-inch pleat, allow about an 1/8 inch of shrinkage. So I got my dimensions hopefully right. We'll see going forward, I guess. The next step for this would be sew foam. This is homemade sew foam because, you know, it's cheaper and it's just as good. I found a place that sold it a lot cheaper than other stuff, and I bought a cheap $5 some sort of material, glued that on there, and that's actually what's on the back of that diamond thing. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, right here, back here, worked out just fine. So I don't know if I'm going to go ahead and glue this down or try to cut out some vinyl. I don't know just quite. I don't want to get too far forward and screw up and having to redo it again. So do I do the houndstooth now, or do I cut vinyl and glue everything up at once? Decisions. Well, this would be, I guess, day 2 for me, but a few seconds for y'all. Show you what I got progressed and laid out. I'm learning, and I've found some mistakes that it's not going to throw or scrap anything out as of yet, but it's stuff I got to make that mental note on for next time. And it's allowing for your seam allowances. You know, I need to remember to leave excess material, so when I glue this down to a scrim foam, sew foam, whatever it's called, then I cut on the mark. See, I cut this one first, but luckily I had enough I could scoot everything over, and it's going to be tight, but I'm still, the measurement I want here to here is still the same. I got my houndstooth all laid out, marked up. Of course, this is going to be the top portion, you know. I got the radiuses cut into it. So this is, you know, something like this. Of course, I'm using a 1/2 inch sew allowance for now until I get better, and I can probably make it 3/8, maybe a quarter. I don't know what the standard is. I might leave it at a 1/2. I got my side panel right here, and I'm still trying to really figure out, because this one, well, I guess I better unfold this one too. It's going to come down a little bit to at least right there. That's where my skirt is going to start and stop. So I'm going to pretend like that's right there. We'll just have to play Mr. Rogers right now in the world of make-believe, okay? And this trimmed up to kind of match the radius and contours of this seat. So far, I'm liking it. My next step is to glue this stuff down to some sew foam, and that way I can run in my 2-inch pleats. I'm not going to do any kind of tucking, hidden sewing or anything like that. You're going to be able to see the thread, so I'm going to use probably black thread, and that'll hopefully I can follow my pattern and make it straight. I mean, I can't mow grass in a straight line, but I guess I'm going to try to sew a straight line here. I mean, I got to try it, right? Here's the other side, mirror imaged. And that's where I'm at right now. So I guess my next step, and I ain't doing it in here because I screwed up once when I made up my diamonds, that first diamond sample, and glued up that panel. That glue is stout. So I'm going to step outside, get all that glued up. I got it. I did it. I feel like Dora. But we got them glued down, trimmed out. And I think I'm going to go ahead and sew the vinyl first. Practice following the lines before I get to the real peculiar sides of things, because if this was just a regular some different color vinyl, it wouldn't matter so much. But when you got this houndstooth with the pattern, and me being or trying to be particular, I want to try to follow that all the way on up. And remember, this is the bottom. That other half is going to be part of the top. But this is how it's going to be laid out, of course, sewed up. Once everything's sewed up and trimmed back out. It's hot out there. Feels good in here, though. So I'm going to get over here on the old Sailrite. Wind me some bobbins. I got some white wound already, but I'm going to change it out to that black. Get some bobbins ready, and guess we're going to do some sewing. Well, I got me some bobbins wound. 2 anyways. Surely, I don't know how long or how many it's going to take, but 1 might do the whole seat. I mean, it's a learning. The main thing I got to check for, though, from reading and stuff, make sure you don't run out of this in the middle of a stitch, or you're going to have some problems. It's fixable, but you're going to have some problems. So I'm going to lay that over here to the side. Spin y'all around, and this is my first piece, and see if we can't follow this along. I better start on the short side first. Well, and I know, no, turn this back around a minute, and I'm still learning and figuring out the locking the stitch and whatnot. And on these panels, it ain't as critical because we got a 1/2 inch sew allowance. That what that means is you got to take and fold it over, or I say fold it over. You got to lay something else. If I wish I had another piece. Excuse me. But if this was 2 pieces, well, we can make it 2 pieces. Just like that. So we got, if you can see that faint line there, that's roughly a 1/2 inch. So we'll lay them 2 pieces on top, come in a 1/2 inch, and we're going to sew it up. So when we do that, whatever you sew on the outside of that is going to get cross stitched. So it's not necessarily as important, but it's still a good, like, muscle memory, there we go, to get used to. And I'm still, figuring that out. Now here we go again. Stick it on the side, lower it. Make sure this don't get hung up. Let it start. And this is where if the material was wider, like it should have been, it'd have been a lot easier to keep up with, or to follow. I have to say, all in all, I followed that white line pretty darn good. I'm actually pretty impressed with that, considering half my material was hanging off, and because this is one of the mistake pieces I had to move in. I know it was going to be borderline, but that actually worked out pretty good. Can't remember, I think it's this outside line, because this was original, then I moved it over so I can get my length that I need. But I'm going to sew these up, grab my measuring ruler, cloth thingy, and make sure that I sew this in the right spots. I got this trimmed up, sewed up. Doing them little arcs can be a little bit tricky, but I got them where they matched up pretty good from side to side. Any other time I seen where you take the whole panel and flip it over and match everything, but I don't know if that's right or wrong on doing it with houndstooth. So I'm doing it this way. Here comes the fun. Make it or break it. The pleats. Got them laid out again, a little darker. But the main thing I'm going to focus on is follow a pattern, or the black or red, whatever it is, and hopefully follow it along the length. Fingers crossed. I guess if I mess this up and had to, cut my stitches out, at least this is cloth and it's not vinyl. So at least the holes will kind of be hid, but we're hoping we don't have to do that. Well, I'm pretty proud of myself. Got the pleats put in, didn't make no major mistakes. I did run out of bobbin thread though, but it wasn't too bad of a deal. Just replaced it. And luckily it was on the outside pleat, so I was able to start on the edge and walk myself back in, crossed over that stitch, and continued on. But I got the top half up there trimmed off. I made them one long piece to do them like this, so it'd be, easier. Well, I had that crap rolled up, all up in my double chin, biting on it. I don't know if it's easier or not, but at least it's going to match up. I probably won't do it like that again. I don't know. It depends on if I get any better at this or not. But this is what it's going to look like. Of course, this is kind of wide. We got a ½ inch on each side that we got to overlap when we sew it up. Another thing that I wished I would have thought of was, alright, so I've got 9 pleats at 2 inches a piece. I calculated everything, but somehow or another I calculated so I would have a 2-inch pleat here after it was sewn. So the outsides are going to be a little bit short. I mean, it's first time mistake. I'm not redoing it because of it. I don't know how noticeable it'll be. I'm sure I'll notice it dead off or instantly, you know. But I don't know how close somebody else might notice it. The other thing, you know, next time I'm not laying these out, this white line. Staring at this stuff, I've got a headache to begin with, and I'm starting to get a migraine staring at this crap. So I'm just going to mark out on something that's got a pattern close to what I have, because what I've done here anyways was got close, I picked me a tooth and I followed it down. It worked out that way. It worked good that way. So I probably won't lay that out again, because it was really, really, I mean, red, black, houndstooth with the white on it. I'm still waiting on something picture to pop up in my head right now, thinking it's a 3D picture. Next step I'm going to do is go ahead and find my centers, get everything centered up, make my little notches like this here. That'd be for my skirt, I think. I'll have to do something here, but put me in some lines to know as I'm sewing along that everything matches as I'm going down it. And that's my next step. Well, I made a boo-boo. Pretty big boo-boo. That shouldn't be on that side. Yeah. Luckily, the only thing I gotta worry about is one piece of vinyl, since it's already got holes in it. Houndstooth, it's cloth. So hopefully I'll be able to rip the stitches apart and fix it. But that's the real thing going on here. I mean, I figured I'd show you just to prove that I didn't whatever, finagle, lie, whatever. That's a big boo-boo. And that's the first one I really did that wouldn't, you know, I mean, it's still fixable, but other than my pleats being off. Fixed it. How about that? And I actually am impressed how my stitching came out, because I didn't want it to get, you know, you want that continuous look all the way down it. You don't want it to go this way. So we got a little bit of red showing right down here. We got the red showing. So it worked out great. And right here is where I had to cut that old stitch out where I put it together wrong. And you can't see it because it's sewed on this side of the old one. So it worked out good. Fitting up there pretty good too. Of course, these, you know, they stretch. You gotta stretch it. So it's got a little bit of give in them to do what I want to do. I need to see how this measured out, because I wanted it, I think it was 10 inches. Let's check that. So from here to here is about 10 1/8. 10 1/8. We were within 1/8 of an inch. And I'm happy with it. Let's see what this is. From here to here, 10 1/8. Well, I'll be. My next step would be making this skirt. I'm really trying to decide if I want to put a seam in it here, then wrap it around, or have it one continued piece. Probably need to look at some pictures and get some ideas. Well, it's been a couple of days and I don't know where I left off, but I went ahead, I made the skirt. Now I think that was the next step. I got the skirt made in the oh, my phone's hooked up to the speaker back there. Skirt's made. I made some welt. Boy, it took me it was a learning curve there to get the welt to make. But it's going good. I'm pretty surprised. I'm really enjoying it for once. Let me turn you around and that's got to be another one of them tire kickers off Marketplace. So here we got it. Let's go ahead and prop it up. So there it is, sitting on the bench. My seams turned out really nice, like I wanted them, right by the seam here. Oh, I did do a top stitch here, as you can see. And I'm planning on doing a top stitch over here too. Not a French, but just some sort of, I forget what they call it, but it's just one stitch. Go to this other side. Of course, it ain't stretched or attached, but it matches. Flip her on up. And we got the welt attached to the bottom. You know, this piping welt and stuff would be used to go in seams if you wanted it. But I'm using it so I can hog ring it down to the bottom. Well, well, well. I foobarred it. Yep. Made a big one. I think it's fixable though. It's just gonna be a lot of work in fixing it. So, you know, I kept on and on and on until I finally screwed it up. But I wanted to put a top stitch in it to kind of strengthen it, this edge here. And that's what it's supposed to turn out like. But somehow or another, it got all bunched up. And this is where I cut the threads just to see. And it turned it into a piping that I don't want. I wanted this look. Like that. So my fix is bust all these seams loose, because we're going to have holes in the top of the skirt on the edge of this here, or the edge of the top part, the top of the skirt. All that needs to get trimmed out. And I'll probably have to bust this stitch up too. So yeah, that's what I mean. And it's on both sides. Probably be quicker to start over. But number one is, I knew I was going to make a mistake. Maybe not this big. And I'm going to have to learn from it. Pay attention to what's up under that darn foot. Well, I think I got it fixed. It ain't perfect, but it's hiding most everything. All the holes and whatchamacallits. Looking pretty good. But do I attempt to put my top stitch on again? That is the $1 million question. And I am. I ain't giving up now. That's what I want. That's what I'm going to try. So here we go again for take 2 of the top stitch. I done it again. It ain't like it was the first time, but I don't think it's me. I mean, obviously it's me, but it's bunching up because I think of this sew foam. I think if I'd done the top stitch on this side, it wouldn't be near as bad. But it's all bunching up as I'm trying to sew, and when I unfold it, this is what I'm getting. Yet again, it's fixable, but I'm done this time. After this one, it ain't gonna have a top stitch. Not on this go round. I'm gonna have to practice some more before I ruin a seat cover. I got it done, but I didn't get a top stitch. I was sitting here really thinking, and it's like, you know what? This is my first one. Mistakes gonna happen. So every time I get in and out of this truck and I look at these holes, it's gonna tell me do better. And it's really hard to notice them anyways, but I know they're there. But that's the finished product. I ain't even had a heat gun on it. I have to say, I'm pretty proud of it to be my first time doing this. Well, if you got any tips and tricks, be sure and comment below, and stay tuned for me to do the back of this, and hopefully it matches. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one.